Whoa, 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 wait a minute. You did all this timber framing and you haven't done a video on it? Yes, and it was great. I spent the whole day yesterday working in the shop and I didn't even bring the video camera in here. It was delightful. However, I know that that's not sustainable. So, here we go. The reason why is I got another one to do just like it. So, it's nice to get a little practice on the first one so I know what to do and what not to do. So here we are. This is what we call a bent. So, on the timber frame, post, 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 post. It's just laying down sideways. So, what do we have here? We've got the two corner posts, and we've got the top section there, which will be a lap joint. It's all fixed in. And then over here we have our top joint, which is just a mortise and tenon. Everything fitting nice. What we're working on today are the knee braces. Now this is a style of knee brace that I have never done before, and to be quite honest, it's kind of complicated. And I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, and I'm just getting ready to cut my first knee brace. Knee braces are what go sideways, angle from corner to corner. That's what gives it the shear. We don't use these things in modern construction anymore because we have sheet plywoods or sheet goods, and they have tremendous amounts of shear. So you can stick frame a building with real small studs, 2x4s, and you can nail on that sheeting and it makes it super, super strong. Back in the day, they didn't have anything like that. So this was the way you would get that shear. This is also the way they would have supported wooden sailing ships, ships of the line in the English and American, French, Spanish navies. So I'm going to bring you right on in here, and we will get one in, do the mortises, and see how it turns out. My, oh my, the knee braces. This is the good stuff. This is quintessential timber framing right here. So what I have here, what I'm tracing, is the first one that I made that I miscut, cut wrong. So I'm going to use it for a template. A lot of math goes into this. I was really scratching my head for a while, but we will trace this out and then cut a new one. I'll show you the whole process from start to finish. All right, I got my knee brace in here, and I've got everything squared. Everything's ratchet strapped. Everything is held perfectly. Because these angles are so critical, we can't have this any deviation. You know, if we're off like a 32nd here, over here on the other side, we end up having a 1/4 inch gap. You know, so we want this to really be critical on our measurements. So I've got it in. I've got my perfect 45 here, and I think we're ready to go. So I'll take my pencil and we'll scribe this, because we have to cut a tenon in this here and chisel that out. And this I'm using for knee braces full dimension 2x6s that I cut with the chainsaw mill. I want to thank my subscriber Ken, who sent me a set of these jack clamps that he manufactures. I think they're manufactured in the States. He sent these a long time ago, and I looked at them and I thought, yeah, those are nice clamps. I didn't really think too much about them beyond that until I started timber framing again, and I needed a third hand. And I'll tell you, Ken, I don't know how I got by without these for so long. And all my previous timber framing work that I've done, I used these old-fashioned Irwin type clamps where you had to screw them and they took two hands. This has changed everything because they're just so, they open so big for one thing, which I like that. I can get my 6x6s clamped, and they're just one-hand operation, and they are so strong. I have used those old clamps like you get at the big box stores, and the thing I haven't liked about those, I mean, they're a similar design, there's nothing really new here, is they had the plastic side plates on them. And so if you really, really squeezed hard and got after it, that would bow out and flex, and they just wouldn't hold very hard. Where these here are all metal, and they're just so much stronger and so much more rigid. Another thing that I like about these is you can flip them around and they spread. See? Instead of squeezing, you know, they spread apart. So that would be really good for, like, if you were hanging cabinet boxes. Let's say that you were wanting to jack up cabinet uppers in your kitchen. You could jack that thing up there and hold those in position. Super handy. I've even used the spreaders to spread these some of these timber frame joints as I'm working in them that have been too tight. So thank you very much, Ken. I really like these. These are the best clamps I've ever used, and I only wish I had more. So thank you for sending those. I'll put the link to those jack clamps in the subject heading too. Any of you woodworkers couldn't go wrong with that. So let's cut this tenon. and see if we can't get this knee brace fitted. So I've got the material for the new knee brace ready. This is what it should have looked like right here. You can see this is a full 2-inch, and the tenon is chiseled 1.5 inches right there. And this is the shoulder here. I'll show why that is here in a little bit when we let it into the post. What I did wrong was I was tired last night. I'd worked too long, and you can see I cut the angle wrong. It's supposed to be like this. I cut it like that, ruining it. So that's what happens when I get tired and I know I've worked too long. I start making mistakes like that, and for me it's just best to shut it down and go home. So let's get this cut, notch it out, and do something. So our tenon, our knee brace needs to be 1.5 inches thick. You know, that's what the chisel we're going to use. You know, the chisel is going to be 1.5 inches, so that's what we'll chisel. So we need to take off 1/2 inch right here. So we'll use the combo square. I'll just mark this out, and then I'll set the depth on the skill saw here to cut some lines through there. That way we can chisel to the exact right height. And the skill saw is just such an amazing, versatile machine. What you can't do with it is just limitless. Now with our tenon scribed, we can go ahead and finish it off. One thing that I have started doing that's made all the difference is keeping my chisels in their sheaths. I just knocked my framing slick, which you know how important that is to me, off the beam, and it landed on the concrete. It would have chipped the corner, but I had it in the sheath right there. So it's automatic. I just keep it right there, and it goes back in every time. All right, so now that we've got the scribed, it's really easy to chisel this. We can just go right to the lines. You know, we have the depth is already set right there at the bottom of our kerf of our skill saw blades. And if you make a number of cuts in it like that, like I did, there it just takes a little bit. Look how easy that comes out of there. You can just knock those off. The last one here. Just tremendous time saver, that skill saw. Now all we've got to do is just, right here is just basically tool this right to the bottom of the marks. So what I'll usually do is I'll just keep working my 1.5 inch shovel. Shovel? Yeah, this looks like a shovel, doesn't it? My 1.5 inch chisel until I just can faintly see those cut marks. Look how we're getting real close there. Now typically you don't use a chisel this way. Usually you use it on the bevel so you can control how deep it cuts by moving the handle back and forth. But once you develop a certain amount of skill, you can effectively use a chisel this way as well. But you can easily take off too much material. That right there is probably just about enough for that. Now we'll bring our framing slick in. Now the slick is a good tool because it's so broad that it takes all the high spots down and it leaves you a nice flat surface all the way across. You know, you can see where if you were trying to level with a small chisel like this, you know, you're cutting here and then it gets lower than this side and you're back and forth, back and forth. Not so with the slick. It's kind of the principle of a road grader. So you can see those saw lines there. See how sharp that tool is? You know, want to clean that corner up really nice. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Oh, it just gives me goosebumps. It's so nice. Nothing like it. Okay. that's about it. We'll clean it up a little bit more, but that'll be really, looks like a nice tenon. We'll get these little hangers on there in the corner, and last thing is I'll just take my slick and I'll just trim those ever so gently. Look at that. Isn't that nice? What a happy little tenon from a happy little tree. I'm starting to sound like the Bob Ross of timber framing. Man, am I tired. We have had 3 wildland fires in the last 12 hours, starting at 10 o'clock last night and running back-to-back calls all the way up until 1 o'clock today. 3 separate fires, and I am exhausted. So, Thursday, that means Bible study tonight. I am not going to be able to do the Bible study. I'm going to bed. So, if any of you can hop on over to Justin TV and spread the word to anyone who does not watch this video in time, I would consider that to be a great kindness, a kind act to me. So thank you very much. So, did you click the thumbs up? Are you enjoying the timber framing series? I thought that we were going to get to the knee brace, but that's going to be in part 21. 21, can you believe it? How many parts? I guess we should start taking bets now. How many parts it's going to take to see it through its completion? It's hard to say, but I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoy the series, and I guess that's about it. Right over here, I put a blast from the past, Wranglerstar Gold, videos from the past for you new subscribers. And those of you who watch in mobile, I'll put the link in the subject heading. You can click there and watch that. So thank you very much, and we'll see you guys in the next video.